guys, it's me, MonsterMatt345 here, and it's been a while as people are just going out buying our shelves off because they're so scared about this awful. It's just the fact that and as you may notice, two of my teeth have gone. If I've offended anybody recently with anything that I've said online, I am sorry. And I'm only a person after all, and like.
Matt was enjoying his newfound friendship. Up until this point, the closest thing he ever had to a friend was his pet rabbit Darius, who his father had bought and named for him some years prior. Beneath Robert's positive and happy exterior, according to police reports, he had been physically and mentally abusive to Mary, on some occasions punching her in the back of the head with his fists. May 20th, 2008, Robert is questioned by police at his home, under suspicions that he's been abusing his wife. She has been sent to the hospital for a broken jaw, and nurses noted that her strange and feeble attitude was similar to someone in an abusive relationship. Robert would go as far to make Matt watch the beatings, then sit down with him afterwards to tell him this is what's supposed to happen in a relationship. Mary will later lie to police regarding the abuse, saying she fell down the stairs. This abuse had been going on as soon as they got married. Robert broke 6 of Mary's fingers on their honeymoon to Paris, 1 finger for each of the men she had slept with before marrying him. Mary would go on to blame Matt's strange behavior on the fact that Robert made him watch the abuse, and blames Matt's attitude on Mary's heavy drinking while she was pregnant with Matt, though it has been confirmed that Mary didn't drink any alcohol when she was pregnant with him. A few days later, Matt asked his father if he could sleep over at his new friend Clint's house, because it would be Clint's birthday. Matt had stayed over at Clint's house for his own birthday, so they wanted to carry the tradition. Robert saw no harm in another sleepover, given how Matt's behavior had improved significantly. Matt also informs Robert that Clint and his family are black. Matt and Clint will remain in some form of contact every day. The one day they didn't speak, Matt sat and played with his pet rabbit, Darius, for 18 hours straight. A few days before the sleepover, Matt invited Clint over to his house to play some PlayStation games. While there, Matt wanted to show his new friend a secret he had been hiding from his parents. He took him to his basement. In there, stashed away in the corner, Matt unveiled over 250 cans of Monster Energy of the green variety. Matt told Clint to help him fill his bathtub with it and to wait outside. After an hour bathing himself in the tub of energy drinks, Matt got out, got dressed, and filled some empty plastic bottles with the liquid in the tub so he could drink it later. When Clint left, Robert called Matt over to have a serious discussion regarding Clint's color. He tells him that because of Matt's strange upbringing and social tendencies, he might start to become racist towards his new friend. To educate him about racism, Robert spends 8 hours going through information on Black history, slavery, and the KKK. He also spends some of his time teaching him about Islamic terrorism, like 9/11. A few days later at school, Clint is being bullied by one of the kids in his class because of the color of his skin. The abuse almost gets physical, until Matt steps in to defend his friend from the bully. A nearby teacher sees the commotion and sends the bully out of class. The next day, Matt is confronted by the bully, tells Matt to meet him at the front gates after school. Everyone in his class tells Matt that the kid he's going to fight is tough as nails, and that if he fights him, he's going to get himself sent to the hospital. Matt doesn't react to the other kids, but when alone with Clint, he confesses that he's scared. Throughout the day, Matt drinks 26 cans of Monster, hoping this additional energy would give him the strength to fend off the bully. At the end of the school day, the bully is squaring up to Matt, while Matt is standing there with a blank expression on his face, one hand behind his back. For a brief moment, the bully looks away, perhaps to show confidence in the fight. In this short time, Matt runs at him, stabbing him in the back of the ear with a pair of scissors he had concealed behind his back, partially severing it. The bully fell to the floor while screeching an ungodly squeal, and cowers into the fetal position. Matt throws the scissors to the floor and begins to pummel the bully's face with his hands and fists. Teachers come to break it up. Matt is brought home by the police, who inform him he will have to transfer schools. Rather than punish Matt, Robert sends him to his room and allows him to play on his PlayStation 3. Later, Robert comes up to Matt's room with a very serious tone and hands him a sealed envelope with a letter inside. He tells him they must promise not to open this letter until his 21st birthday, when he becomes a man. The sincerity and seriousness of Robert's demeanor would stick with Matt until the day would finally come he could open the letter on his 21st birthday. Little did he know, it would be the most shocking and horrific day of his life. Robert hides this incident from Mary, and later that night, shaves his own head bald and puts all of his hair in a pie, which he would feed to him and Matt for dinner the following day. Robert served up the hair pie. Before Matt could take a bite, he paused to ask why his father had shaved his own head. Robert said nothing, looked at Matt, vomited uncontrollably all over the pie and the dining room table, and fainted. Matt ran to the phone and called the police. Robert was rushed to the hospital, and as he lay there in silence, Matt leaned over his father and cried for hours. With his mother and father out of commission, this was the only time in Matt's life where he knew what it was to feel truly helpless. Doctors couldn't figure anything wrong with Robert and assumed the problems were psychological, but would keep him in for 2 weeks. In this time, Clint's parents had agreed to let Matt and his rabbit stay with them. While staying there, Matt found it strange how Clint's parents didn't argue or physically abuse each other, and everyone in the house noticed Matt's strange tendency to show disrespect towards Clint's mother. It was clear he thought women were less in his eyes. They also noticed how Matt had a strange obsession with talking about Islamic terrorism and the KKK. He would even speak in Arabic from time to time. Matt would show his gratitude to Clint for letting him share his bedroom by buying him different flavors of Monster Energy. Clint quickly took to the same passion as Matt, and he grew to love the popular energy drink brand. Although Clint hides this from his parents, as he knows it's bad for its health, it warns Matt on multiple occasions that too many of them can make your teeth fall out. Matt would often wash himself by going into the bathtub and pouring cans of Monster down his face and body as if he's having a shower. Clint didn't judge him for this. It would not question why he enjoyed it so much. He was just happy to share his friendship with Matt. Clint's family enjoyed having Matt stay over. Their friendship was very strong. They would never argue with each other and would just play all day. On one occasion, they were telling each other secrets, and Matt confessed that he would casually watch as his father beats his mother viciously, and admitted that he thinks this is the way true love should be. Clint, in his horror, asks if this is the reason his mother's in the hospital at the moment. Matt nods. Shortly after, Robert, as well as Mary, were released from the hospital. Doctors never determined the reason for Robert's admission. Everything was normal in the Tucker household, until one morning, Matt would step outside of his home, and to his horror, would see Darius, his pet rabbit, decapitated with his head on the end of a stick, which had been planted into the ground like a spike. Matt fell to the ground in shock. Robert hears his feeble screech, and takes him into the house to rest. But Matt only blames himself for this, as he left Darius outside on his own, which he saw as a huge mistake. He could not forgive himself for putting his rabbit in danger. After leaving him be for a few hours, Robert sits next to Matt and explains that he should not be mad at himself. Rather, he should direct his anger to the immature hooligans who did this to his pet. Matt eventually understands and agrees with his father. The next day, Matt receives an alarming text from Clint that reads, "I'm so sorry, Matt, but I had to do it. I feel so bad for your poor mother." Matt, being confused by this, responds with some question marks. Minutes later, there's a hard knock on the door. Mary answers the door and lets 2 policemen inside the house. Matt listens in on their conversation. For 15 minutes straight, Mary weeps about the abuse she had suffered under the hands of her evil husband, Robert. It angers Matt that she would talk about his father in this way. Just as Matt steps up to interrupt his mother's mutinous behavior, Robert lunges out into the living room with a knife, attempts to slash at the police officers, with a primal rage in his eyes. One of the two police officers is left with no choice. He swiftly springs his gun into action, aiming at Robert. Robert had been killed. Matt doesn't remember what happened moments after that, and says he doesn't recall what emotions he was feeling this day. The next thing he remembers doing is picking up his phone casually and texting Clint this exact message. For the first time ever, Matt had known the joy of friendship, and now, for the first time, he's felt the pain of loss. How will Matt's actions and mental state develop moving forward? Join us in Act 3, where we see Matt transform into what he is as we know him today.